Going to be talking about Amazon KDP, specifically about their guidelines for reviews on books. Amazon guidelines, like any retailer's guidelines, can change from year to year, month to month. So, this is something that you could research for yourself. Depending on when you find this video, this is coming out in July 13th, 2025. This is meant to be an informative video. My name is Katherine. I am a USA Today bestselling fantasy author, and I've used KDP for several years now on multiple books. And if I can tell you anything about Amazon KDP, is that their practices are subject to change. I am not a legal professional, so definitely seek legal advice if you have questions about the legal terms of service here, or reach out to Amazon for clarity. Do your own research and due diligence. But with that, let's dive in. So, what is a customer review? Well, a customer review, when we talk about books and Amazon KDP, is where a customer tells the world what they thought of the book you wrote and then give it a star rating. So, we're going to actually start at the very bottom here because this is the most pressing information. We're going to talk about, can your friends and family review your books? We're going to talk about whether you can give readers gift cards in exchange for doing your book. And some other things as well. But down at the bottom is the core section that many of us writers are looking for information on. Can you still in 2025 give free discounted copies of your books to readers? This is on Amazon KDP's website directly, so no misinterpretation here. You may provide free or discounted copies of your books to readers. Yay! So we can still give out our precious advanced reader copies or ARCs in order to try to get readers reviewing our books early. As long as you do not require a review in exchange or attempt to influence the review. So I'm going to put a little break on this here. When we say require in a book review in exchange, we are typically thinking, hey, I will give you an art copy of the book as long as you promise to leave a review. That is basically saying I am going to make this contracted agreement with you where you will get a copy because you are going to review it. And that is no longer allowed, according to what this says here. So you can ask for reviews, but it has to be clear that it is not in exchange for the ARC copy that you're giving out, right? You also can't attempt to influence the review. I've heard some authors say that they're getting their reviews taken down because readers are using the language, I received a free copy in exchange for this review. I received a free copy in exchange for a good review. So this is a mindset shift that we as writers might have to adjust a little bit to. So instead, what I am doing as an author to pad myself here is being very clear with the readers up front and saying things like, while reviews are in no way expected or required in exchange for this ARC, honest reviews are always helpful and appreciated. This is basically reminding them that they can leave you a review, reminding them that you want an honest review, and that you don't require one, so that there's no doubt it's in writing that you don't require or expect one, therefore you are safely compliant here. Additionally, offering anything other than a free discounted copy of the book, including gift cards, will invalidate a review, and the Amazon community team will remove it. To learn more, check community guidelines. We're going to look there in a minute. So, we cannot give gift cards in exchange for reviews anymore. This is something that was a big trend within the indie author scene several years ago. If you leave a review and send me a screenshot, I'll enter you in a drawing for a chance to win a gift card, right? This is now not allowed. So just be very careful that all you're giving them is a free or discounted copy of the book. Now, with that being said, let's talk about these rumors that book reviews are going missing. They're being taken down. And in some cases, writers are saying their books are being frozen entirely. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here. If you update book content, customers may call attention to aspects of the book that you've changed in their review. This may make content in earlier reviews irrelevant. However, we, being Amazon, won't remove the reviews if they don't violate the community guidelines. if you got tons of reviews saying, I love this book, but it was filled with editing issues. And so you go and you pay and you have it professionally edited and you put it back up. What this term is saying, in my mind, is that you can't ask Amazon KDP to take those down for you because you updated those typos. They're not going to do that anymore. Instead, they are asking you to update your book and use their notify customers option to let them know there's an updated copy. Now, the tightrope walk here comes with this attempt to influence the review. Some more bitter customers could potentially flag your request to update their review now that there have been edits as attempting to influence the review and report that to Amazon. And of course, on a case by case basis, that is going to require an investigation in and of itself. And since I don't work for or with Amazon, I cannot tell you what goes into that. I have not experienced this myself. So you have a couple decisions to keep in mind before doing the update and notify option. If your goal is to launch a beautiful new version of this book, and you want to do it to correct these reviews that are potentially turning away your sales, maybe you should do a whole new listing, because you can do a new listing of a book and put version 2 and all of that, and then take down the old listing of the book. This is something that I'll be doing with a series of my own this year. This avoids making it seem like you're trying to influence old reviews, and instead gives a nice clean copy, and all the new reviews will be based on the current version. Now, the risk there is you spend a lot of time building up your old reviews and you will lose those old reviews. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to do a new listing and start fresh? Do you want to keep the version that you already have and update the interior and not notify customers to avoid this risk? Or do you want to go ahead and notify it knowing that there's a slight potential risk there? I leave that up to you to make. It is a business decision that everybody has to make for themselves. So you might ask then, if I start a new version, can I transfer customer reviews from the old version to the new one? And the simply put version of this is no, with a caveat. If your metadata information matches the previous version, then you can link them. But linking them links all the reviews, not just the good ones. You can't pick and choose. In which case, I have to ask myself, why are you creating a new version in general? Sometimes we create new versions because we put a new cover, it's a special edition, and we didn't change the interior. And in that case, I can see it. But if you're doing it to correct something that was bad in reviews, then you may not want to link the two together. If you are internationally published, you can share international customer reviews as long as the same book's ASIN, that's Amazon's version of an ebook ISBN, and format is live in those other markets. So if I publish on Amazon US and I want to share those reviews in Amazon Canada, it should carry over as long as the ASIN is the same in both places and the format is ebook in both places. Now, with that being said, there are going to be different inputs, and it says that here, that change over time that determine whether these reviews can carry over. So you may not see all of your reviews on all of your different marketplaces, and there's no real way to control that. All right. I'm going to scroll up here. To submit a review, your customers can find the book in your orders or go to the reviews section of the book page and click write a product review. If you're not new to Amazon KDP, then you already know this, but Amazon divides reviews into verified and unverified reviews. Verified reviews seem to hold more weight for the algorithm, where unverified reviews seem to hold less weight with the algorithm. I don't work for Amazon and I can't say that 100%, but that's what it seems to trend like. So if someone buys a book, having them go in through your orders to place their review is going to be a stronger option for your book reviews than them just going and leaving a random one that anybody could leave, right? Now, coming back to that question of why your book reviews are missing. If your book review is missing, then it most likely means it did not meet the community guidelines or one of these 3 bullet points below. Community guidelines include things like spam, hate speech, reviews posted with that tag. This review was posted in exchange for receiving a free copy of the book, or in exchange for a gift card, or in exchange for a good review. The review was removed by the customer who submitted the review. So they put it up and they took it back down. The review was linked to an unrelated product, meaning that someone posted a book review on your book when it should have been for another book. If a customer contacts you about their missing review, ask them to contact the Amazon community team. I highly suggest that you stay out of that research. If someone says, I posted a review for you and it's not there, leave that to Amazon. There is a lot more that comes into play here. So if they haven't purchased enough, their verified review might not go through where a free unverified one might, right? So that's something just to keep in mind. All right, so we are going to very briefly shift over to this community guidelines link that they continue to drop over and over and over. And there's a couple key points to really notice here. So the guidelines in general are going to include everything on Amazon, not just books, but you can see what's not allowed right here, who can leave reviews. So what's not allowed? We don't allow reviews or questions and answers that focus on sellers and the customer service they provide, ordering issues and returns, shipping and packaging, product condition and damage, or shipping costs and speed. And they don't want the ordering experience to overshadow the quality of the product itself. So those reviews may go down. Comments about pricing also tend to be pulled down because pricing changes over time, right? Content written in unsupported languages aren't going to be allowed. Repetitive text, spam, pictures created with symbols, private information that identifies the customer, profanity, harassment, hate speech, sexual content. It's okay to discuss sensuality products sold on Amazon. The same goes for products with sexual content like books and movies, but they don't allow profanity or obscene language or content with nudity, sexually explicit images, or descriptions in the actual body of the reviews, which makes sense because reviews can be seen by anybody versus opening the book and reading an erotic piece, right? They don't allow external links to products outside of Amazon in the reviews. Now, here's where we're going to come down to the burning question we talked about at the beginning about, can my friends and family leave me a book review? And the answer is no. As of 2025, we don't allow content if its main purpose is to promote a company, website, author, or special offer. We don't allow people to create, edit, or post content about their own products or services. Don't create a dual account and try to review yourself. The same goes for products and services offered by friends, relatives, employers, co-workers, business associates, or competitors. This competitors thing really stood out to me this year because competitors mean your peers, your fellow authors. This is a huge potential hurdle for authors who write like you do, because now it's written in the terms. It's going to be a case by case basis, but if you get a bad review from someone who is a fellow author on Amazon, you can dispute that review. Now, that also means that good reviews could be disputed by readers who notice that these are peers posting buy my friend's book type things. So, is this going to adjust our view of posting for writer to writer? Maybe. We'd have to reach out to Amazon for more details because it's very vague what they mean by competitors here. But it's something just to really keep in mind. So we don't allow reviews written as a form of promotion. And if someone has a financial interest in the product or any other conflict of interest, it can be taken down. We don't allow anyone with a financial or personal connection to the brand, seller, author, or artist to post questions either. They can post answers, so you can answer people's questions, but they can't leave a review and they can't post a question as if they're a user. But they have to clearly and conspicuously disclose their relation. I represent the brand for this product. I am the author's sister, et cetera, et cetera. And then in that case, additional disclosure is unnecessary. It's what it says here if they have the label for some sellers and manufacturers. Excluding reviews and questions you can post about products to which you are financially or personally connected. It is mandatory, though, that you clearly and conspicuously disclose the connection. I was paid for this post, which if we read on the other, paying for posts on other products on Amazon is different, okay? But for books, we're not allowed to give financial compensation. So this does not trump the KDP terms. It's just in addition to it. Well, I read it, but I'm not a legal professional. However, brands and businesses can't participate in the community in ways that divert Amazon customers to a non-Amazon environment. Compensated reviews. So here we go down here. There's exceptions, right? About what you can pay in exchange for a review. And we talked about that earlier. Only post your own content or content you have permission to use on Amazon. This restriction includes text, images, and videos. You're not allowed to post content that infringes on intellectual property, interact with the community members in a way that infringe on intellectual property, or impersonate someone or another organization. Stay away from illegal activities. And now we're going to get down here to consequences. We talked about how some writers are saying that they're seeing their entire book frozen or their account taken down for having people post that they were given something in exchange for a review, right? Well, this falls under this section. Consequences for violations to the community guidelines can include removing your content. And when this happens, most of the writers I've seen post about this in the writer groups on social media are saying that they also lose any potential royalties for the upcoming 90 days. So your content is gone. And even if you appeal and you get your content reinstated, they do not typically give you back your royalties. So you have a huge hit for this regardless. Limiting the ability to use community features, removing related products, suspending or terminating the account of the reviewer, the account of the poster, and withholding payments are all included here, which we just talked about. If we find unusual reviewing behavior, we might limit the ability to submit reviews. If we reject or remove your review for guideline violation, you won't be allowed to review that product again. And they might take legal action if you're violating any laws. So there are some high consequences for breaking Amazon's terms of service for books. Overall, the terms of service seem to be pretty straightforward. You can give free copies of your books in 2025 to people as long as you do not require a review or require a positive review. You can update the interior of your book and use their steps to update. You can take your reviews from one version and link them to another as long as the metadata is the same. But your friends, family, coworkers, and competitors are no longer allowed to review your books. So I've said this before, I don't work for Amazon. If you have questions, please scroll down here on the Amazon KDP page, and it has a contact us button. You can click there to reach out to the KDP team, and they can help answer any questions that you may have that are unclear to you. If you have questions writer to writer about using Amazon, about my plans for adjusting to these terms for the new year, feel free to drop those in the comments. Was anything surprising to you? Does this affect your publishing? Let me know. Best of luck, and I will see you guys on the next video.